Welcome, everyone. I'm Elizabeth Moose, the Dean of Humanities here at NCSSM, and on behalf of this wonderful department, and particularly the World Language Discipline, I welcome you to this information session. Years ago, 56 years ago, I leaned over the banister in the Mill House where I grew up in Concord, North Carolina, dreaming of faraway places. And in the years since I've grown up and went to school in Chapel Hill, I've made studying and traveling and learning in Morocco, Greece, Turkey, Spain, all around the Mediterranean area, France. And so I encourage you to spread your wings and fly and check out the many opportunities for international, cultural, and linguistic immersion experiences that Nestle offers all of you. So good luck with your applications. We're here to support you. Please let us know what we can do to make this possible for you. Thank you.
I don't know the order of things. All right, so at this time we're going to have our three presenters from overseas. Each of you have about 5 minutes to tell us about your experience and anything that you think the audience here might want to know.
Hello, my name is Isabelle Voice. I am a recent alum of NCSSM, graduated in 2019. I did the summer program in Indore, India last year, and I'm currently on my academic year in Delhi, India, more specifically Hyderabad, but no one knows where that is. So I will begin by talking about why I chose to do Nestle. So growing up, I actually grew up speaking 3 languages in my household. I spoke Spanish, Basque, and English. So I never really had a necessity to formally learn a language in school. And so oftentimes I was able to skip out on the language requirements in school because I was already fluent in Spanish and Basque. I also applied for the NSLOI program because actually through NCSSM I became very invested in South Asian culture, specifically Indian culture, through the multiple dance groups like Bhangra, Ras, and getting more exposure to Indian culture through those dance groups, like going to a Garba for Navratri at the Hindu Society of North Carolina that opened up a door to Indian culture for me. And I knew I wanted to be able to explore that further in a way that exploring it at NCSM didn't quite allow me to do. And finally, I chose to apply to NSLOI because in the future, I hope to work in a public health discipline. I don't know if my connection is working right now.
We can hear you, Isabelle.
Okay, perfect, cool. Yes, where was I? In the future, I hope to work in a public health profession, hopefully in India itself. And so I thought that learning Hindi would be the best way to be able to communicate with locals in the future, even if in some parts of India, Hindi is not spoken. It's the national language, and it's the most widely spoken language that is spoken across India. So that's a little bit just about why I chose to apply to the Nestle program. I actually have a video accompanied in my presentation from my experiences in last summer. So I was thinking that we could play that video, and then I could answer any questions that people may have about the academic year program, the India program, and specifically. So yeah.
Thank you so much. We're about to play your video now.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, Isabelle.
Of course.
We're going to move to Daniel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Lafata. I am a NSLOI summer alum. Last summer, I was in Chengdu, China with Holden, and she's going to talk extensively about last summer, and I am currently on Chinese academic year, but I am in Taiwan. Um, oh, see,
They're
there I am, the
working.
very
They're
bottom
working.
of Taiwan. Okay. And so Taiwan is a, well, actually, let me just not talk about Taiwan because it's a little complicated. But I am in, or I chose to do NSLOI because I took Chinese at NCSSM. I needed to take the language requirement, and I thought I would take a new language that was very different and exciting. And I really enjoyed studying Chinese. I'm also very interested in studying diplomacy and going into some sort of career with the government and international relations. And so I saw this as a really good opportunity to not only excel my language ability, but also to get firsthand experience of living in a foreign country and really experiencing the culture with a host family, which is something that is unique to NSLOI, both learning the language and living with a host family. So if you want to go to the next slide.
Okay, it's ready.
Yeah, so these were my biggest takeaways from NSLOI, or my big lessons. One was really increasing the language. So if you want to increase your language proficiency in any of the, I think, 7 languages, then NSLOI is a great program for you. If you want to understand a foreign culture, it's a great program. It's also a great program if you want to understand American culture, because it's when you're outside of America that you really realize what it is that you value as an American, and you realize certain aspects of your culture that are really important to you that you didn't realize because you've never gone without them before. So one of the things was when I was in China, in Chengdu last summer, cars go all over the place and there's motorcycles all over the place, and I never really understood how much I valued American traffic laws. But that's like one of the things that I realized. Another, I guess, experience, I'm having trouble saying it. Living with a host family presents a new challenge. And so if you're someone who's into challenges and finding a way to adapt, like I am, then it's also a great program for you. So living with a new family, it's hard to adjust, but it can be really worth it. Going to a new school in a foreign country is very difficult. Making new friends on your program can be a challenge, but it's always worth it. And then living outside of the United States for an extended period of time is a challenge, but it can be really worth it because you learn a lot about yourself. Trying to think, what else should I say? If you're interested in applying to the Chinese program, you have an equal chance of being placed in China or Taiwan. U.S. values learning about both countries. Can I say that? Yeah, I think that's it. Halden's going to talk extensively about the same summer program that we did last summer. And here in Taiwan, the academic year, if any of you are interested in applying for academic year Chinese, I say with a host family, and I go to a college every day and I take 3 hours of language classes Monday through Friday. And then I have elective cultural classes. So I'm taking pop culture right now, which is, we look at short films and modern art in Taiwan and see how it relates to the world. It's a really interesting class. Yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Thank you, Daniel. We're going to see if anyone has questions for you.
I can also say to the end if you want me to, because I'll be awake here. I just woke up. So if you want me to say to the end questions,
Okay, great. Thank you. Isabelle, are you staying or do you have to leave?
I'm also staying.
Oh, perfect. Okay, okay. And I don't see Caroline. Caroline, are you out there?
Oh, she's here. She's here. She just turned off her camera.
Okay, there you are.
She is.
Okay, perfect. Caroline, I'm going to your slide, okay? Okay, your slide is up.
Perfect, sounds good. Hi everyone, my name is Caroline Bruton. I just graduated from Science and Math this year in 2019. So I actually started on NSLOI the summer before I came to Science and Math, the summer after my sophomore year. So the summer of 2017, and I ended up being placed in the same city that I am now, in Chisinau, Moldova. So if you apply for the Russian summer program, they can put you in 3 places. They can put you in Estonia and Moldova, or in a couple different cities in Russia. And I ended up being placed in Moldova, and now I'm back here as well in a different part of the city, but still the capital of Moldova, for the 2019-2020 academic year. I started becoming very interested in NSLOI because during sort of my first few years of my high school career, I was really interested in the foreign service, which you'll notice is a career path that a lot of NSLOI alumni are very interested in. And my goal was I wanted to become the United States diplomat to Russia. And so I figured in order to do a good job, I needed to be able to speak Russian. So I go in the program, and the summer program ended up being really transformative for me in a large variety of ways, but probably the most prominent being that it changed my career goals. And so by having a lot of conversations with my host family and with local people in Moldova, I began to hear a lot and learn a lot about Moldova's problem with human trafficking and the Eastern European problem with human trafficking as a whole. And it sort of shifted my career goals from working with migrants in a political sense to doing field work. And so after I left NSLOI, that interest and that desire to work in that sector became even stronger. And I decided to reapply and eventually accept the academic year program again, because I want to work repatriating victims of human trafficking in Eastern Europe right now. And I decided that the only way that I could do that successfully and that I could be good at that job was, number one, if I was as proficient in Russian as I could be, because it's such a dominant language in this region. And number two, if I knew Moldova and if I knew the surrounding countries really well, because you can't work with victims of human trafficking and you can't try and trace them if you don't know the region where they might be located. And NSLOI is a fantastic opportunity to be able to do both, because it offers you unprecedented opportunities for language growth, because you're immersing yourself in your host family, but you also get to understand the region very well, because they take you on different excursions to rural parts of the country if you live in an urban area like I do, and you get to talk with locals for 9 months and understand the country in a more in-depth way. And so doing an NSLOI program, I think, is really helping me propel towards the career goals that I'm interested in. And whether you're interested in the foreign service, or you're interested in public health, or you want to do field work in NGOs, any sort of thing that requires a global perspective and global understanding, NSLOI would definitely be a good first step towards achieving.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Are you with us for the duration of the program, or should we ask questions now?
I can stay, yeah.
Okay, great. You guys are like fantastic. Okay, we also have a video from Anna Walter, but because of the time difference and the internet issue, she was unable to be here with us. She's in Beijing, and so let me make sure I can navigate my tech, because I have a video for you guys that she wanted to show you. She prepared it for us, and here's Anna.
Hi guys, my name is Anna. I graduated from NCSM last year, and I'm currently doing an academic year in Beijing right now through NSLOI. I also did the NSLOI Xi'an 2018 summer program, and to best share my experience with you guys, I made a short video of what my past 2 weeks have been like. So if you have any questions, I am always happy to help. You can ask Lee Osher for my evaluation. So, and I hope you guys enjoy this video.
There are a lot of reasons why you should do NSLOI. One of them is because the people are wonderful. If you are new.
So a big reason why I did NSLOI is because I really love studying Chinese, and I kind of had a background in it, and I really wanted to get some immersion experience with the language, I guess, because just being here in an immersion environment helps so
I
much.
did Nestle because it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. No one ever regrets taking a gap year. And for the bananas.
Okay, so I did Nestle. I honestly applied for it on a whim, but after I've experienced it, it's honestly really changed my life because even though Chinese was just a hobby for me at first, now it's become so much more. Like it's something that has like transformed my entire like life goals.
Wait, you guys had Wi-Fi? What is this like?
Go!
Okay, so now we are going to move forward with our residential presenters. Let's see here. Let me make sure I know how to play my presentation again. What am I doing? Let's see. Okay, and we're ready. Megan, gracias. Thank you. And I'm going to let you guys navigate the slides yourselves, okay?
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm a senior here. This past summer, I was in Pune, India, studying Hindi. So, there we go. So, first of all, Pune is very beautiful. I try to include some landscape here. So the reason why I chose Hindi is because I've always been really interested in Indian culture, so that was my main reason. Actually, like Isabelle, I'm really interested in doing public health, specifically in India when I grow up. So I wanted to see it firsthand and have some conversations with some of the locals about the healthcare system there, which I got to do with my host family, which was really cool. So this is me at school up there, having a good time. All right. So a lot of the things we did whenever we were in India is like we would do a lot of excursions. So up here in the left, I'm doing community service. These are some local school children. We did a kind of like a social issue presentation, which was really fun. We went on a lot of hikes, which you can see down there. That's Shruti over there. She's going to talk to you in a little while. But yeah, it was a really fun time. I got to learn a lot about the culture and also got to experience a lot of the landscape, which I appreciated. It was actually monsoon season while we were there, so yeah. Which was really cool. It was raining the whole time pretty much, but I loved it. I absolutely loved the rain. So when I came back here and it doesn't rain at all, that was kind of hard. But yeah, that's my teacher in the right-hand corner. Her name is Vishali. She's a queen. So while we were in India, we stayed with host families. So some of the programs you stay with a roommate, so there'll be 2 NSLOI students per family, but with the Pune program, there is not. We all get assigned our own individual family. So this is my family down here. I had 2 little sisters. I love them a lot. I still stay in contact with them because once you go and you make connections like this and you stay with them for like 7 weeks, it's really hard to forget about them. They really do become your family. So all the programs, I think, have classes that you do. So we had classes every day along with our Hindi class. So we'd study Hindi for 5 to 6 hours a day, and then we'd have 1 hour of cultural lessons. So here you can see us studying music. We studied Indian classical music as well as just fun Bollywood music. And then to the right you can see us, we had art class once a week where we do any kind of traditional art with Indian traditional art. We also had dance class once a week, which is my favorite class. And we also had sports time, which is whenever we could go and interact with some of the not high school, but like So the school we went to was like all the way from like kindergarten to high school, so we got to interact with some of them, which was my favorite part of the week too, because it was the one chance we really got to interact with students our age. So that was a lot of fun. This is my little sister up here. She was really cute. She was only 7, so yeah. Are there any questions about the Pune program that I can try to answer? All right, cool. That's it. Hi, I'm Shruti, and I also did the Pune program with Megan. I think the main reason that I chose to do Pune, and I specifically wanted to learn Hindi, was to learn about my own culture and how it might be different to be an Indian growing up in India versus an Indian growing up in America. So as you can see here, picture, that's my host brother, Siddharth. We're on the school. I love him so much. He's like 10 years old. He's adorable. But yeah, one of my favorite memories that I have with him is watching cricket with him, because the time that I was there, it was like the Cricket World Cup season. So he would get really heated about like India like losing, but it's okay. Yeah. And then the bottom 2 pictures are me with my host sister, Sharanya. This picture right here is in Lavasa, which is a Pune, and it's so beautiful because it's like a drive-through, and they have like different waterfalls like everywhere you go, so there's just a lot of natural beauty there. And one of my favorite memories that I have with her is just like riding around on our motorcycles and eating pani puris, which is like my favorite Indian snack. So if you can see it right here, I'm eating the pani puris, and basically, they're just hollow balls, and you fill them up with like spicy water and like potatoes, and it's like delicious. And here's my Hindi teacher. Her name's Revatai. She was my advanced Hindi teacher, and she was absolutely amazing. Also, one more thing to note, despite the fact that we were there to learn Hindi, I think the main dialect in Pune was Marathi, which is the language that I speak at home. It's my mother tongue. So it was really interesting to see how the language that I speak at home, I could speak it with so many people that I've never met before. And it just made me feel even that much more at home in Pune. So yeah. And then these are some of the excursions that we went on in Pune. The top right corner with me, Megan, and Anna, and she's a grand senior. That was in the Baja Caves, and basically how to get there, we had to hike up a mountain, and within that mountain there were like caves like carved within the stone, so it was especially beautiful. And I'm pretty sure it was carved in like the 15th century or something like that, so it's pretty ancient, and it was really beautiful. And also another place that I went to with my host family was in Lonavala, Pune. And as you can see here, it's like you had to drive through the mountains, and the higher up you got, the more cloudy it was and the less visibility it was. So even though it was beautiful because you were seeing the mountains on the same like cloud level, it was really dangerous because you couldn't see as well when you were driving. But yeah.
Everybody. So my name's Joseph. So I went on the 2019 summer Estonia program for Russian. So the reason I picked Russian was because actually my first language is Russian. And the only person I ever spoke Russian once I moved back to the United States was my mom. And when you go to school 7 hours a day, you kind of get out of touch with Russian. Some of my Russian speaking abilities, which is why I did the NSLOI program. And I think that's the biggest benefit of the NSLOI program is for everyone, no matter your level of the language, you can see massive improvements in your language learning. So for me, I really gained a lot. So in Estonia, we all stayed with host families. I did have a roommate, and actually it's amazing the connections you make on these kind of experience because I mean, Natalia. When you don't know anyone, you really make great connections with people. And my host family, I'm still in contact with them. My host parents. It's really an amazing experience. And so here are some pictures of our time in Estonia. So in the bottom left, that's our class. So just like all the other programs, we had about 4 hours of language learning every day, and our teachers are in the photo somewhere as well. In addition to the classes, we go on excursions probably about 3 or 4 times a week. So here are some of our excursions. Up in the top right corner, which I think is one of the better pictures we actually have, is at the Presidential Palace in Tallinn, Estonia. And it's actually quite pretty. We also traveled to many scenic locations in Estonia because it's on the Baltic Sea, and there are many beautiful beaches. We enjoyed skipping rocks every body of water we went to. That was one of our favorite activities. So where we lived, there was a medieval castle that tried to simulate life in like the 14th century feudal Estonia. And so the first day we got there, they actually had like a special event where the city of where we were staying, Narva, was competing against a neighboring city called Tartu in a sword fighting match, which you can see here. So in the castle, they actually did dress up as knights. They used blunt swords, obviously, but they actually did have fights and had winners, etc. It was quite the amazing experience. And the other picture on screen is my roommate and I, with our family, went biking in a place called Ust-Narva, which is on the coast of Estonia, just by the beach. And so, like any other country with Russian influence, there are very beautiful Orthodox churches. The majority of people that are Christian in Estonia, or in our part where we were staying in Estonia, Narva, were Orthodox. So they have the Russian-style churches with domed arches. And the final picture over there, and it's where they light a fire and they dance traditional dances. So overall, I think, and the amount of language learning, it's incredible, actually. So thank you guys for your time.
Hello, everyone. So as Joseph said, I was also on the Nestle Estonia program to learn Russian over the summer. So I also have a class picture there, but we're on a Soviet replica tank. There was whole factories during the Soviet Union to specifically make replica tanks. So I did Nestle for a similar reason. My mother is from Ukraine, but she was the only person for like the first few years who spoke Russian with me until my grandparents moved here, but still like I didn't learn very much Russian, so I really want to reconnect with that. So I found out about this opportunity last year through Caroline, actually. She taught a Russian seminar here, so that's how I found out about Nestle, and I got it, fortunately. So here we have my class picture, and then the top one is a picture of the of Narva College, which we had class every day at. And then the bottom one, that is a photo of the Narva River, which is the border between Estonia and Russia. So we were like right there on the border. Like it was just the bridge that connected them. So you can see Herman Castle there, where the different festivals were, along with Ivangorod Fortress on the other side of the river. So here are just like some few random pictures of stuff that we did. So Joseph mentioned some excursions we had. This large one on the left here, that was one of our master classes we had, where we were in Herman Castle, and I think that this one we made like different like traditional dolls, which were supposed to be like bring like good luck with fortune. The top one there, in the Nestle programs, we have something called a residential director, or an RD. So the woman there, Christiana, she was our RD, and she was basically the person in charge of us throughout the program. And then the one next to her, Denise, he was a local resident of Narva who helped tour us around like throughout the whole program. And then the middle one there is a picture of me with a few of my classmates. Part of the requirement of ours was to do some sort of volunteer work, and we found an animal shelter where we went to for, I believe it was around 15 hours, and we just helped out with these cats for all that time. And then the bottom picture is from the Midsummer Festival, which happened like right as we got there. So Estonia experiences white nights, so we were extremely far north, and that was on the 21st, like there was like no night for like the first few weeks that I was there. So that was where the bonfire picture was from. there was like concerts, and then we had a bunch of cultural dance along with the lighting of the birch structure at the end of it. And then just some random pictures. There's a picture of my dog, my host dog. Her name was Monica. I loved her. There's a picture of an Estonian swing there, which was at this restaurant which served blini, which is like Russian pancakes. And we love blini, and we love that swing a lot. Then there's just some pictures of things that we did throughout. There's a picture of us at the Baltic Sea, and then just making different foods with one of our host families. And I just wanted to bring attention to the one picture is Estonia. It's a very westernized country in a way. Even though it's part of the Soviet Union, it's nothing like Ukraine, where like I've been, and it's part of the EU, but it's a lot more developed. So one of the things that we noticed is there's a lot more like American influence there. So the reason I want to include that is because those were two of the only shirts we found that had Russian words on them. I just thought that was really interesting. So that's all I have to say about, yeah.
Hello, my name's Helen Levin, and I went to Chengdu, which is the capital of the Sichuan province in China, after my sophomore year, and so in 2018. I think one phrase that really encapsulates my experience is 真理之行始于足下. And so pretty much what this idiom means is, in order to take a very long journey, you must take the first step. And so what NSLOI really provided me was the opportunity to further my language learning journey. I started learning Chinese online for 2 years, and it was an interesting experience. I was able to learn enough to converse a little bit, but my speaking and my listening skills were really poor. So I applied for NSLOI in the hopes of furthering my language skills, as well as connecting with people in China. So this is a picture of me in New York before we left to go to Chengdu. We were in New York for a few days for pre-departure orientation. So I was with a group of 28 other Americans. China is one of the biggest programs they have. As you could see, like with Estonia and the Hindi program, there was a lot fewer people. So China is the most popular program that they offer. The major thing with NSLOI is learning the language. So every single day, except for Saturday and Sunday, we had language classes and different cultural classes as well. So a typical day for me would involve traveling to school, which typically took about 30 minutes. And then when I got there, I would usually run for an hour, and then I would go to class from 9 to 12. And that was, from 9 to 12, we spoke Chinese the whole time. Our teacher was Li Lao Shi, and she couldn't speak English very well. So in the afternoons, for about 2 hours, we would interact with another teacher named Yang Lao Shi, and he was able to speak English a lot better. So we could ask questions about different grammar or cultural things relating to the language. In addition, in the afternoon, we usually had like an hour or two for cultural activities. Like one cultural activity we did was Kung Fu. We also had an opportunity to go to a local library and volunteer. I was organizing books. And another really important thing, of course, is the food. So since I was in the Sichuan province, the food was really spicy. It's really hot down there, like climate-wise, but in addition to like the hot climate, they're really into very hot food. So one time I actually ended up eating like a whole pepper, not thinking that it was a hot pepper, which was not a good experience. But at school, they would always offer us both Chinese and American cuisine. So if you look in the picture, you'll see that there's like French fries and a milkshake, in addition to like stir fry and rice. And they also had these wonderful grapes that were really big, but also had really tough skins. And then at home, I would eat breakfast and dinner, of course. I think another really important aspect is like living with your family. So I lived in a host family on the 14th floor of this very large apartment building. That was the first time I met my host sister and my host mom. So in my host family, it was my host mom, my host dad, and my host sister. As you know, in China, with like the one-child policy, most families only have one child. A few have more. And we also had a little puppy named Tu Dou, which means potato. Yeah. And so on the weekends, I would usually travel with my host family to various locations. One of the first excursions we went on was to a lotus like flower garden. And my host fad is actually wearing a shirt from my hometown. So like when you go to another country and you're living with a host family, they often tell you that you should give them like gifts from your hometown, different things that are made in your area. Another time I met some of their extended family, and I met one of their little cousins, and he called me Jie, which means older sister. It was really cute. He actually ended up kissing me, but yeah. Another time we saw Le Shan Da Fo, which is pretty much this gigantic Buddha structure. It's pretty amazing. It was carved out of the side of this canyon. It doesn't look very big, but it's really big. And then the last picture is me saying goodbye to my host sister. So even though the program only lasts 7 weeks long, you really connect with these people. And like I'm still in contact 2 years later with my host family. Actually, at the beginning of my senior year, I was like, I'm starting my senior year, and my host mom's like, we're rooting for you. So it's great having another family in another country, halfway across the world. So now we're going to go into some of the more specifics on the actual program itself. So NSLOI, as I probably hope you should know, stands for the National Security Language Initiative for Youth. And it's a merit-based study abroad scholarship program funded by the U.S. State Department, and it's facilitated by various international exchange organizations in the United States. The major goal of NSLOI is to provide high school students the opportunity to learn critical languages in the countries where those languages are spoken. So critical languages are pretty much languages that are not commonly taught in America, but there's a really great demand for speakers of those languages. One important thing to note is that you don't have to have any experience with the language prior to applying to NSLOI or going on this program, because there's certain languages they offer that aren't really taught at all in America, like Indonesian or Persian, which I mean they're taught in certain areas, but they're not commonly taught at all. And another important thing to note is that in addition to summer programs, they offer those academic year programs, as you saw our 3 alumni video in. When it comes to eligibility requirements, you must be a U.S. citizen, you must have a GPA of 2.5 or higher on a 4.0 scale, you must be 15 to 18 years old at the time that you start your NSLOI program, and you must be enrolled in high school because it's aimed at high school students. Also, you cannot have a family member in the State Department or that is an NSLOI employee, and you cannot have traveled previously outside the U.S. on long-term programs sponsored by the Youth Programs Division of the State Department. Previous summer applicants can also apply for the academic year. However, if you were an academic year participant first, you cannot apply for the summer program. So these are all the languages you may study. For summer, they offer Arabic, Mandarin Chinese, Hindi, Indonesian, Korean, Persian, Tajiki, Russian, and Turkish. When it comes to academic year programs, they only offer Arabic, Mandarin Chinese, Hindi, Korean, and Russian. So they don't offer Indonesian, Persian, Tajiki, and Turkish. And most importantly, the deadline for applications is October 30th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So it's about a little bit over a month. But if you're interested in applying for this program, I would recommend starting as soon as possible because you need a recommender and you also need to make sure that you get your transcript in time. Yeah, so do you guys have any questions for any of our alumni? Sounds good. All right. All right. If you're interested in more information, I would recommend going to the NSLOI website. And also, one last thing to note is that if you're not interested in NSLOI, there's also other exchange programs that they offer through the State Department that are fully funded. So one is Yes Abroad. Yes Abroad, you go to Muslim predominant countries for an academic year. It's only academic year program, and it goes both ways. So there are students in America right now through the Yes Abroad program, since it's a cultural exchange program, not a language intensive program. CBYX is a academic year in Germany. That also goes both ways. It's more of like a cultural exchange program. And the last one they offer is Youth Ambassadors. So that's 3 weeks in Central or South American countries. Yeah, so if you're interested, in Germany, Muslim predominant countries, or in South or Central American countries, I would recommend looking into these 3 programs. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for coming.
Guys, let's also thank our students who joined us from around the world, please. And please to Holden, who really helped make this program possible. And of course, thanks to you guys for attending, and we hope you apply. Yeah? See you soon. Thank you guys. Have a good evening or good morning. Rest well. Daniel, Isabelle, Caroline, thank you. Bye, guys.